Hello, my name is Ioannis Dizoglu. In this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a simple calculator by using Visual Studio. In this case I'm using Visual Studio 2019. However, if you use a different version of Visual Studio, the process is exactly the same. So to get started, we are going to select Create a new project, or if you continue without code, you can always go to File, select New, and then select Project. Either way, you're going to be prompted to come here. From the first drop-down list, select C#. From the second drop-down list, select Windows. And from the third drop-down list, select Desktop. Then select the Windows Phone App.NET Framework and then click Next. Name your project appropriately. So I'm just going to call this My Simple Cal 22 and then click Create. If your layout looks different to mine, so let's say for instance accidentally you close the toolbox or the Server Explorer, okay, you can always go to the Window tab and then select Reset Windows Layout and then click Yes. Next, click on the toolbox and then click on the little pin to display your toolbox on the left hand side. As you can see here, I have expanded all the Windows forms. So in this case we need 4 buttons, so I'm going to add click and drag 4 buttons into my project. I will also add 3 labels. And finally, I'm going to add 2 text boxes. Let's place the buttons a bit closer. Okay, we can customize this later. Right, so my first label is called label 1. I'm just going to call this, I'm just going to put here value 1, val 1. And for the name, I'm just going to call this LBL val 1. Then I'm going to select the label 2 and I'm going to change the name to LBL val 2, and I'm going to change the text value to val 2. I'm going to follow the same process for the text boxes. So however, on the text value I'm just going to put the 0, the number 0, and for the name I'm just going to name this as txt val 1 because it's a text box. And I'm going to select the second text box and I'm just going to call this txt val 2, value 2. Now if I go to the text section, I'm just going to put here the number 0 as well. The next thing I need to do is go here and I'm going to make the first button addition. So I'm just going to put the plus character and I'm going to type here btn plus. The next one, I'm just going to change the name to btn minus. And I'm just going to change the text value here to a hyphen, to the minus symbol. On the button 3, I'm just going to change the text value to an asterisk. And I'm just going to change the name of the button to btn multiply. And finally, I'm going to select the button number 4. I'm just going to call the name, it's going to be btn divide. And I'm going to change the text value to /. Now, I cannot see all the text correctly, so the characters are well too small. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight them all by clicking here and dragging. I'm going to highlight all the buttons. I'm going to go to the text value, to the font section. I'm just going to change the size to maybe 15. And I'm just going to increase the height a little bit. The next thing we need to do is just change the label 3 So if let's make the label 3 font size, let's make it 25. And let's collapse that. The font color, we can always change the font color to something else. If we click web, we have more colors. I'll make it maroon. And let's make it bold as well. Bold equals true instead of false. Oops. Okay. The next thing we need to do is go further down to the name, and I'm just going to call this LBL result. Okay. And the default value will be 0. Just going to put here 0. We just learned now how to customize the objects, how to actually reduce or increase the font sizes, on how to change the colors as well. So let's start adding some code. Let's double click on the, in fact, before we move on, let's go to the font one. So click on the font, and we're just going to change the text value. So the text value, instead of being font 1, I'm just going to put my full name, followed by the word cow. Okay, so if I click here now, I can actually see my name here. The next thing we need to do is double click the plus button, and we are going to create a first variable. So it's going to be, let's give the data type of decimal, and I'm going to call my variable my val1. And I'm just going to say that my val1 is equals to, I need to convert this into a decimal, and is whatever the end user will add on the text box 1 txt, which is I renamed it earlier txt value1 dot text, and then I'm going to put the semicolon to end my statement. Okay, so this line is exactly the same with a new line I'm going to add, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it right below it, and the only thing I need to do is change the variable name to value2, my val2, and instead of txt val1, I'm just going to call this txt val2 because that's my second text box. Now we need to create a new variable that does the calculation for us. So I'm going to create another variable with a decimal data type, and I'm just going to call this answer. And my answer is equals to my val1 plus my val2, semicolon to end my statement. Finally, I want to display the results onto my label, so I'm going to say LBL result dot text is equals to, and I need now to, if I say answer here, I will have an issue because the answer variable is a decimal, and now here I need to convert this to a text so the label will understand it. So what we need to do here, we need to say Convert.ToString, and then in parentheses I'm going to put my variable answer. So let's put here capital C. So I need to convert basically my answer to string in order to display the answer into my label. And that's the only code we need. Let's press the delete here and click away. Nope, it's not going to do it automatically. Okay. So these 4 lines of code are the lines of code that we need. So we're going to copy this now. And here is the addition. We're going to go back to the design view, and I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to paste this code now here on the minus, and the only thing I need to change here is change the plus with the minus. I'm going to go back to the design view. I'm going to double click here on the multiplication, right click, paste the code, the 4 lines of code. I'm just going to put here multiplication, the asterisk, and finally I'm going to double click on the division, paste the code, and change that to /. So now if I actually press start to test my software, everything should work fine. So if I say here 2 and here I'll say 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 2 minus 3 equals minus 1, 2 times 3 equals 6, and 2 divided by 3 equals 0.66666. Okay, let's fix this. Let's stop the project. We're gonna go here. Let's go to the division here. And what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put this calculation within parentheses. After the value 2, I'm just gonna put comma and 2 because we want 2 decimal places. And here what I need to do is I'm just gonna say math.round. So I'm gonna round basically the result of my calculation basically into 2 decimal places. Let's try now. Let's start. Let's say here 2. Let's say here 3. As you can see here, we have 2 decimal places. So if I put here a different number, still we have 2 decimal places. Still 2 decimal places. Okay, so this is how you create a simple calculator by using C# and Visual Studio 2019. I hope you've learned something new today. I hope you will use these new skills to create nice applications. Take care. Speak to you soon.